Very cool. Well, we're very excited to talk to you. Once again, joined by my special co-host, DJ Rossstar. How you doing, Mr. Rossstar?
I'm good. I'm excited for this interview. This is going to be fun.
Well, I'll let you introduce our special guest we got here today.
I think he should introduce himself. Jaret, tell us about yourself.
Well, first of all, I need to comment on the Green Day Kerplunk shirt, which it appears to be. It appears to be fairly vintage, or is it fake vintage? You know what? You don't have to.
It's actually fake, and they just put it out for the celebration of the 30-year anniversary.
Well, then that's not fake. That's like just paying tribute. I love it. Anyway, I love it either way. Hey, I'm Jaret from the band Bowling for Soup, and happy to be here.
I was going to ask you as my first question. I actually did wear this shirt on purpose. I know you wrote a little blurb a couple of weeks ago celebrating Kerplunk, and I wanted to know if you had any cool stories, maybe if you saw Green Day perform before they got really big.
Oh, yeah, several times. I mean, it's a funny thing. It's, I think that people sort of put, Green Day in sort of our world that we have with, Blink-182 and Sum 41 and all of that. And, they were so far ahead of the rest of us, I was listening to Green Day in 89. I saw them twice in 90. I saw them in 91, 92. So, yeah, I mean, I saw them in really small places. I saw them in places that we played, at the time. Definitely some great times seeing them then. But, it's interesting how they have become such an amazing arena band. Like, they put on such an amazing show in that format too. So yeah, I mean, they were destined for greatness, that's for sure.
And you never opened up for Green Day, even back in the day?
Never opened up for Green Day. I mean, we've played festivals with them where they're the headliner, but okay. No, we have never supported them. We actually got offered the Blink-182 Green Day tour back in the day, but we tour very differently. We're only gone a certain amount of time, and obviously that costs us a lot of tours and quite a lot of money in the grand scheme of things, because we can't tour for 6-8 months in a row anymore. Because once I had kids, I was like, I'm done doing that, man. I can go for a couple of weeks, but then I'm coming home for a while.
I dig that. Speaking of tours, you're about to go on tour of Lit right now, huh?
Yeah, we are. Yeah, first we have we actually start an acoustic tour next week in the U.S. up in the Northeast. So we'll be hitting like Baltimore, Rochester, going all the way up to Essex, Vermont, and that's just an acoustic. That'll be our first tour in 2 years due to the pandemic. And then after that, in April, we will head over. This was rescheduled from last year, taking Lit and the Dolly Rots over to the UK. And known the Lit guys for so long, and just great dudes. And the Dolly Rots are family as well. So,
let me ask you about the acoustic tour. I know you were asking people for suggestions for songs from 1995.
Mm-hmm.
What are like the top 5 songs that you got? And maybe Steve and I can give one or two to you also.
I have to confess something. I actually did not post that, and I didn't really understand the context of it. I really didn't. So I meant to go back and look and see what are people commenting on this? Like, why did he post this? So that one sort of went over my head, but. But you tell me, what would a 1995 song look like for you guys?
It would have to be acoustic, right? So I was thinking of Gin Blossoms, Till I Hear It From You.
I was thinking the same thing, Ross.
Oh, man. Really? No, I love it. Well, it doesn't have to be acoustic, because when we're on this acoustic tour, we're playing Bowling for Soup songs that are definitely not, the originals aren't acoustic. But I love Till I Hear It From You. I've actually name-checked the Gin Blossoms in several Bowling for Soup songs, and we did a cover of Hey Jealousy on our last full-length album.
Oh,
That's one of those songs, Hey Jealousy, where I love singing it in the car, but I can't reach those notes like you can. So I would never be able to do that like at karaoke or anything.
No, because I don't think he doesn't really sing that high. I mean,
I just sing too low, I guess.
You're like
I've tried that song many times because I love karaoke and I've rehearsed it, and every time I say no way, I'm not doing it, not a chance.
Okay, yeah. I mean, my voice is really high anyway, so it's like but yeah, I think you could crush it. But what's your go-to karaoke song?
I'll send you a video after this. I actually went to AJ from Lit's Christmas party, and he had a whole karaoke setup. So him and I did Papa Roach, Last Resort, and that was a good one. I also did Faith, the Limp Bizkit version. I do that one a lot.
Okay.
Sometimes I bust out Informer by the rapper Snow from the 90s.
So I like it. So those are good crowd songs too. You know, like I like to I walk into the karaoke bar, I get acclimated a little bit, and then I either start with Here I Go Again by Whitesnake or I Believe in a Thing Called Love from the Darkness.
Again, a song like that, I would never be able to hit those notes. Never.
Now that one is high. And when I get to the really high note on either of those songs, it's just like from then on, people are coming up going like, what are you going to sing next? And it's just like, yeah, I don't know. I'm basking in this right now.
I'm surprised, Steve. I thought you were going to say like Pure Massacre by Silverchair for 1995.
Oh, no. I mean, it would be like Suicidal Dream if it would be from a Silverchair album from 1995. But yeah. Man,
Silverchair is one of those bands where like it's a lot of musicians that like them. And but people,
man. I love Diorama.
People who like Silverchair are like cult-like. Like it's like Butch Walker. Like if you love everything they do, and it's I guess I only knew them because of their hits, and then my buddy Andy Skibb played me some of the stuff that I would have never thought came from that band, and then I was just like, okay, I could understand how you would. You just really dive into this, and definitely should have been bigger than they were.
Oh, absolutely. Well, I have 2 kids. You have kids. I have to ask about the whole Chuck E. Cheese thing. How did that get approached? I mean, your kids think it's a cool deal? I mean, to me, telling my kids like, "Hey, I'm about to interview the voice of Chuck E. Cheese," they're like, "What?"
Yeah. I've been lucky in it's one of those things where I've said, it goes back to that old cliche of like, you never know who's watching kind of thing. But Bowling for Soup and me, my career has honestly, that's just been what happens with me. But Chuck E. Cheese, I was doing improv comedy here in Dallas. I took a class and then I joined a troupe. And one of the guys who saw me a few times was also into improv comedy, but he was also a big Bowling for Soup fan. And they ended up getting the Chuck E. Cheese account back when they were about to do the relaunch of kind of sort of changing the mouse and all of that. And they made a reel of me with like my interviews, like me singing and all that stuff, and pitched me to the company. And so when I went in to do what I thought was the audition, when I was leaving, my manager calls. He goes, "How'd the audition go?" And I'm like, "Man, I think I just cut the first batch of commercials. Like I don't know that I auditioned for this." Yeah, and so it turns out like they just had figured, they were like, "This is who we want. We're gonna get this guy." And I'm like, I didn't have a contract or anything yet, and I was already cutting the thing. But that was 10 years ago. Super nostalgic and cool for me because I grew up going to showbiz and Chuck E. Cheese, and it's one of my favorite jobs out of the 15 that I have. That's for sure.
I love it.
For those people who are too young to know this, I was going to Chuck E. Cheese as a kid in the 80s, and Chucky used to be a rat, and then somehow he became a mouse later on in life.
I guess so. Yeah. I mean, I guess so.
I have photos of me and Chucky in the costume, and then I looked on Wikipedia to make sure I was correct, and he was a rat.
He was a rat. Okay, so that's interesting because
he's been rebranded a couple of times over there.
Oh yeah, he definitely gets
watch on his videos.
He definitely gets called. I get called a rat a lot. Like it'll be just like, "It's just a rat with pizza," and I'll go, "First of all, I'm a mouse."
Yeah.
And so I have always been a mouse. I'll tell you a funny story about kids though. So I also, worked on Phineas and Ferb for all 9 years that show was on, and that's a Disney show, right? So when I got the job being Chuckie, me and my family were out to eat, and I was just telling them, I was like, guys, this is crazy, but I got the job. I'm Chuck E. Cheese, and my daughter, who was about 8 years old at the time, started just dying laughing. I go, well, what's funny? And she goes, Dad, isn't it funny that you're scared of mice, but now you work for 2 of them?
That's true.
And I'm like, man, she's got the gift. She's got the gift.
I love it. Maybe she'll do stand-up comedy.
Yeah.
When you were young, even before you started Bowling for Soup, did people comment on your voice, that you had a good voice for possibly radio or something like a cartoon?
Well, see, that's super interesting, and that's a really, really great question that nobody ever asks me.
That's why we're here.
I got made fun of actually a lot for having a high voice, and especially from my big brother. I do the joke now where I'm just like, my brother used to make fun of my voice because it was so high, and now I use my voice for work, and I make way more than him. But I got made fun of for having a high voice, and I was very self-conscious about it. And so I really wasn't a singer. I wasn't in choir or anything like that. I could do impressions, and that's really how I started to sing. Is that when my band started, we were a cover band, so I would just impersonate whoever it was I was singing, and it would kind of work that way. But I was a drummer when I was a kid. I started playing drums and played drums all through marching band and stuff, and then it was about 17, 18 when we had a bunch of friends that could play drums and a bunch of friends, that could play all the other instruments, but nobody would sing. So I was just like, well, I'll give it a shot, and kind of never looked back.
You had it rough. So you had people making fun of your voice and calling you Jared probably every day.
Jared, well, and it gets worse. My last name is Reddick, but if you hyphenate it, it's Red Dick. And
oh no.
Yeah, once they discovered that. So yes, Jared, Janet, Gerald, Jerry. Never Jarrett, and definitely Red Dick a lot, and made fun of because Jarrett rhymes with carrot, and I was a fat kid, and so I think all of that really just makes you fast. It makes you to where like you don't really want to get into a war of words with me, especially if people are paying attention, because I'm pretty good. And that's probably where all that comes from, is just defending myself and all those, and it's not like I was unpopular or anything. I think a lot of it was, all in fun, but And
I was gonna say your hair is kind of half carrot color at the moment.
It kind of is. Yeah, the lighting in here is weird. My hair, actually, it's funny. My wife is a hairstylist, and she never messes up, and this particular thing, when we were rinsing it, she did something because the water was so cold and I was being a little bitch about it. And so she took a step that she shouldn't have, and my hair turned pink instead of red. And I was like, I kind of like it. Let's just keep it, and I've gotten more comments on my hair than I have in years. So, anyway, it's sort of cotton candy-ish now.
I dig it. Well, I'm a huge wrestling fan, so I got asked about the Alexis Bliss song. It's so great.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, again, very organic situation. I was I was at a wrestling thing. I took my youngest son, who actually is turning 16 soon, and which is crazy. Wow. But this is a few years ago. I think it was 2017. And he was getting into wrestling, so I took him to a couple of wrestling matches, and this girl comes out, Alexa Bliss, people go crazy, and I tell him, I go, hey man, I think that girl likes my band, and he goes, really? How do you know? And I go, because there's pictures of her in a Bowling for Soup shirt that people keep sending me, so I Google it, and there it is. Long story short, I sent her a message, and we got to kind of messaging back and forth, and I sent her some merch, and she sent my kids some stuff, and and then we got to be friends. And then, as we're hanging out a few times, and I'm like, man, like all of these wrestlers use these, cock rock songs, but but all of them, their audience loves pop punk. She needs a pop punk song, and like we're her, one of her favorite bands, and Girl the Bad Guys One is her favorite song. And so I wrote that song with my best buddy, and I sent it to her on her birthday, and she sent me back a video of her. It actually brought her to tears, which was very sweet.
I love that.
And so here's the worst thing that happened with the whole thing is that we were 90% committed and booked to bring her out for WrestleMania the year that COVID. Yeah. So.
Oh, dang.
And I feel like the time has sort of passed on that. Her character's so different now.
Her character's way different now. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, I don't think it really would match up anymore. But anyway, you win some, you lose some. But that song's been great. Actually, last week was the song Turn 2, and I think we're at like 4 million views on YouTube. So not too shabby.
Very cool.
What's the update with the new record? I mean, I saw the title on Wikipedia, and I know you posted a photo or a story that you listened to it, and it was awesome. What's the status on that now that it's almost mid-February?
Yeah, so it's been delayed a few times, which is tradition. It's funny, we haven't been on a label since 2009, so we kind of been just doing what we want to do for years and years. But this record, our managers kind of believed in a few of the things that are a little bit more old school. So it's like, what, F it, we'll give it a shot. So our new single drops February 24th. It's called I Want to Be Brad Pitt. And that got a new video for that and everything. And then the record comes out April 24th, I think, as well. No, I don't know. It comes out in April. But right now you can pre-save you can pre-save the single, and soon you'll be able to pre-save that album.
I was going to say, what era Brad Pitt, or what movie specifically Brad Pitt do you want to be Brad Pitt?
So I am just a Brad Pitt fan. I love the guy. I love everything he's in, every movie. A friend of mine that's a trainer is like every single dude that comes in, you're just like, they're like, okay, well, how do you see your body? What do you want and everybody's like, I want to be Fight Club Brad Pitt. And he's like, okay, but realistically, what do you want to be? He's like, that doesn't come it does come naturally. It's like that dude, there's some DNA working as well. You're not ever going to look like that.
Have you seen him in Troy? I think he looks even better in Troy than in Fight Club.
Yeah. That, and I just think he's super cool in Ocean's 11. I like that. I like that Brad Pitt too. They're all great, man. I don't know.
I like the long hair, like Legends of the Fall.
Tristan. Yeah. I'm with you. Yeah, he does look good with long hair too. And then there's the stoner Brad Pitt in True Romance when he's the roommate. He's just like, hey, you guys want to sit down or anything?
Do you need to get permission to release a song with his name?
No, you don't have to get permission for anything. And anything we've used with his likeness is definitely parody. And I feel good about it. I mean, we're not insulting him or anything like that. But no, you can name check anybody. We have a song called Award Show Taylor Swift, and we've got a song called Dear Megan Fox, and so there's tons of there's songs out there in the world that you can use people's names or whatever. So I'm sure there's rules as far as like the content, but I'm not breaking any of those.
I'm going to throw out an idea because I'm not a musician. I think you should be the first person to write a song about Wordle, which is your favorite game and everyone else's favorite game right now.
Yeah, man. It's funny. This Wordle thing is so crazy, and it's in so many conversations. And I've only known what it was for like 3 weeks.
Yeah, me too.
And I start, and because I just saw somebody else posting on it, and I'm just, what the hell is this? And I found myself in a hotel room at 11 o'clock at night, and I wasn't sleepy. So I'm, like, what's going on? And so I figured this Wordle out. But anyway, it hasn't even been out a year, and it's literally sweeping the nation. But the dude already sold it. He sold it for $1 million, and it's like, you should have sat on this another 6 months. And you would have gotten 10, 12, 15 million, like, It's crazy.
I play it not every day. Like 15 years ago, I was on a game show called Lingo on the Game Show Network.
Yeah, I remember that show.
And it's the same exact game. 5 letters, five chances, 6 chances. I was terrible at the game on the TV show, and I'm terrible at it now, but I still play it.
You're right. I do remember that. It's so crazy because none of the concept is new. The name Wordle isn't even new. There's an app actually called Wordle, which I used to have, which is a deal where it's a box of letters, and you make with your finger make as many words as you can with the letters or whatever, right? So all he did was take this, simplify this crazy, as you said, that game show, took the name Wordle because I guess nobody copyrighted it, and then sold it to. It's just crazy to me. Like even the website itself, just the fact that like you have to go to this thing called like Free Press UK Wordle dot blah 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 daily thing, you click on that, and then there's nothing to like what it is. It's this thing, and the dude probably coded it in 3 days, and it's
lucky him.
Lucky him. And I don't mean to say that $1 million isn't a lot of money. That's a lot of money, but I just think in 2022 you have to have the knowledge. I mean, maybe he just really needed the money or really didn't need the money, but it's 2022. You know that you just sit on things, and then somebody's going to come offer you the moon for that shit.
Even going back further, I just remembered being a child in the 80s, and I would read my dad's newspaper, and they had the game Jumble, which was also the same exact.
Yeah,
so it's been around forever.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Been around forever. Yep, that's just like anything, right? I mean, that's all. All entertainment is all just a recycle and rebrand of something that's already happened. Everything. Look at Hollywood. They're so out of ideas. If it weren't for superhero movies, we wouldn't even be going to the movies. And it's not like superheroes are a new concept. They're not even using new stories. They're just making movies about comic books that have existed for 25 years. But
I love it. I love all the Marvel movies.
Me too. Yeah,
that's Steve's thing right here. He likes.
I'm not even a comic book, Steve. I'm not even a comic book guy. But I like it. It's different. It's cool, and we all knew who they were. Growing up, I never. Again, I was kind of an interesting kid. I really wasn't like into toys. As like more lip syncing with a tennis racket and pretend and stuff like that. Yeah, a lot of setting things on fire and that kind of.
That's awesome. I want to ask one throwback question because there was a band that Ross and I knew, we were good friends with, we loved. It was Army of Freshmen. I know you worked with them and toured with them. Do you have any fond memories of them?
Oh, so many. I mean, and I still actually hang out with Kai, their bass player, all the time.
Nice.
And those dudes they're still together they're always doing stuff. They've got, I don't know if I can talk about what they're doing, but they have something coming out that's a little bit different pretty soon. But I mean, man, we toured with them for so long, just took them around everywhere because we always had such a great time with them. And Chris J from the band and I, wrote some songs together, and we, he and I actually came up with the concept of the Get Happy tour, which was a thing that we did back in 2007 in 3 countries, and we did
that was a fun tour. I think it was you guys. Who else was Army of Freshmen was on there? So
there were 2 waves. Melee. So on the Melee one, it was us, Melee. The Army of Freshmen and the band that did that Quiet Drive.
Great cover. Yeah, Quiet Drive, yes. Yeah, they had a great cover.
Yeah.
Cool.
Let me ask you a question.
Okay.
And I'm half making a joke and I'm half serious, which is funny that I'm even half serious. Would you consider making a Bowling for Soup NFT or a collection of NFTs?
So I've actually been thinking about it quite a bit.
It sounds so funny but I know it's like a real thing, but to me, it still seems like crazy.
Well, what is this NFT thing, man? I don't even know.
I don't explain it to you. I don't even know if I know.
No, I don't really have a grasp on it either. And I have a friend who's like super into it. He's made a bunch of money on it, like legit. Yeah. And I just keep saying, like, I just don't understand, like, why I want this. And he's like, because you would own it. And I'm like, so what? Like, why? What? So other people can't, like, just go print stickers of it or whatever? He goes, yeah, they can, but they don't own it. You do. And I'm like, I still don't understand this. So I actually, it's just
well, Steve, it's like you would make a drawing on your phone and then you would sell it to somebody for like a lot of money, and then they could sell it to someone else. And if they keep selling it, I think you as the originator keep making money, which to me sounds like a pyramid scheme, but maybe I'm wrong.
No, the whole thing is crazy because there's nothing backing it up, and now people are getting scammed for it. But Ozzy just released some, and what's funny is I didn't find out about it until it's too late. And so this is just a ridiculous story, but that same friend of mine, I told him, I go, man, I just almost tried to buy one of these and I think it was fake. And so like we figured out, like I almost got fucking ripped off, right? And so he goes, man, you need to try to see if you can get on the whatever they have, like a thing that's called it's like a pre-sale, but they call it something else. You need to try to get on this thing. And I go, man, I bet I could get in contact with somebody. So I just texted this buddy of mine who is the head of AEG in the UK, and I go, hey, do you have Sharon Osbourne's email address? And he goes, man, I've got this one from 10 years ago. You can try it if you want. So Bowling for Soup was actually on the Ozfest DVD. This is back, many, many years ago, because they filmed it at at Download Festival, and we were on that day. So they liked us and they put us on the DVD. It was great because people were like, what the hell is this band doing on this DVD? Anyway, so that's my opener in this email. I go, hey, it's been a long time. You know, I don't know if you remember me. I was on the Ozfest DVD, whatever. And I'm trying to get on the list for this thing or whatever. 10 minutes went by and I had a response from her assistant going, hey, Sharon's traveling. That thing is full. Sorry, we'll let you know if we put more out or whatever. And I sent my friend Derek back a message and I go, well, here's the thing. We didn't get in on the NFTs, but I can pretty much get a hold of anybody if I want to. I just got Sharon Osbourne in a matter of 10 minutes.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I was a huge Ozfest fan back in the day. You know? So
yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah, I grew up on Ozzy and watching. It's so funny. I talk about this a lot. So if people that are watching this have listened to any of my podcasts or whatever, but it's so funny because in the 80s, especially mid 80s, Ozzy was the devil, like scarier than Marilyn Manson ever was as far as parents were concerned and kids were concerned or whatever. And then, you fast forward just a few years, into the 90s and you're hearing Crazy Train at sporting events. And now you see kids singing it in car commercials. And I do the music for my son's baseball team. So their walk-up music, right? And I literally just before this interview got one. It was like, Kaysen would like Crazy Train by Ozzy Osbourne. And I'm just like, what a wacky world we live in.
So will there be a Bowling for Soup NFT?
So the idea, I don't know. I mean, here's the truest answer that I can give you to that. I think if I didn't have as many things going on as I do currently within the creative side of things, where I'm already going, hey, we have a new album out. Hey, we're touring. Hey, there's this. Hey, we're doing a vinyl release of this. Hey, I've got a new solo record coming out. All of that. Then I think I would probably be more apt to try and spend the time and do it. I know the singer for the Ataris just launched one.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, I don't really know if I don't know how it's perceived. Like from a fan standpoint, do they feel like they're actually getting something, or do they feel like you're out there trying to rip them off? I don't know the answer to that.
I have one more question, and then I guess we'll wrap it up, if that's okay with you, Steve.
Yeah.
Okay. On a scale from 1 to Men Don't Hail, formerly Maddie of Zebrahead, how serious are you about this country record you're putting out?
Is 10 being like he's the most serious?
He seems dead serious on this.
I am very, very serious. So this isn't just like a one-off thing for me. I've been talking about doing this country record for 20 years, and I've gone in and out of hey, should Bowling for Soup just do one? But if we do that, it's just going to be seen as a novelty. And then it's like it's whole thing. I don't think that it will, and also it's not like we need to. Like we have plenty of different things that we could do and yada yada. So, and then I thought about starting another band, and I'm like, I've kind of already done all that. Like I'm in two other bands right now. Jaret and Kelly and Jarinus. And so I just was like, man, I think maybe I should do a solo record. So I started talking about it. COVID hits. My buddy Zach Malloy, who's in the band The Nixons, but is also a singer-songwriter in Nashville, a couple of number ones with Carrie Underwood and all this stuff, and I talked to him about it. COVID hits, and he just goes, let's just do it. So we took we wrote it in March. I was recording the vocals, like in April, and I finished it a year ago, and now it's coming out. So I'm very, very serious about it. We will be playing shows. It won't be full time for me, like Maddie Mendenhall, but definitely something that when you come see the country thing, it will. I'll be. I'm not going to change. I'm not going to like start dressing up like a cowboy or anything like that, but like I'll probably wear jeans and tennis shoes and whatever, but I won't wear cut off Dickies at a country show. I don't think, but maybe I will. I don't know, but my music is legit. And it's legitimately written, and I really do have Waylon and Willie tattooed on my arm, and I grew up in Wichita Falls, Texas, and everybody that hears it so far is just like, oh shit, okay, we makes sense. So I hope that anybody listening, and I've seen a bunch of punk rockers on the internet going, you're too punk to put out a country thing, and I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm from Wichita Falls. Like I just started liking this kind of music, and I never really lived like a punk lifestyle, like by the time Bowling for Soup was doing anything at all, like I was settled down and like I wasn't going to punk shows and getting in the pit or anything. I just was writing songs about girls and farting, that's it.
I love it.
Are you singing at all with a twang, or is it the same voice you get for Bowling for Soup?
It's not the same because I wrote the songs like down a little bit, so my voice is pretty high in Bowling for Soup. I do not, so I sing like I talk. So there are things like where you'll hear that in Bowling for Soup when I record, I try to be more non-regional, like so you'll hear me go like or not sometimes in BFS. But not quite as much. But I didn't have to really worry about that. And it's not, again, I think it was just instinct. I think once that song kicked in, I definitely don't, what you will hear after you talking to me this long, when you hear my country record, it won't sound like I put on a twang. You'll just go, oh, that's just how he talks. And especially when I'm drinking, my Texas accent comes back. So I didn't play it out.
So what you're saying is in Bowling for Soup this whole time, you were trying to not have an accent, but now you are just letting your real voice out.
Well, that's sort of it. I mean, I'm a theater kid. And when you're a theater kid, you learn to talk and sing to where you don't have an accent. So if I focus on it, then I don't, right? But if I just let loose and don't think about it, then you will hear me start to slip in and say things like Diet Coke, and that kind of thing. So yeah, you're kind of right in that. Like I put a little bit more effort into not sounding Texan, and also producers will catch that. Like my buddy Linus produces our stuff now, Butch and stuff. Butch had his own battles with because when he talks, he sounds like he's from Georgia because he is. Yeah. And so they like leave out consonants, he'll be like that thing over there, and you're just like, what did you say? But yeah, again, bottom line, you won't think that I'm putting anything on. Like it just sounds like me.
Great. Steve, anything else before we wrap it up here?
No, that's it. I go to all information, bowlingforsoup.com, and you pre-save the new single, right?
Yep, JaretReddick.com as well if you want to pre-save my new country record, or just follow me anywhere at JARET2113. And bowlingforsoup.com, that's where all the tickets to the shows are, pre-save for BFS. We have a really busy year coming, so I'm just really excited. You know, if I have to take something positive out of the pandemic, you know, it's the two things would be just the time I got to spend with my wife and my youngest son, and then just the creative aspect of things that came out of it, which is, you know, what I think is going to be a lot of people's favorite Bowling for Soup record, and this new country record, and then a bunch of collaborations that I did along the way too.
Love it.
The busiest man I know.
Well, I certainly try, and you know, I try to make it quality. Everything, you know, quality over quantity, but I do realize that the quantity has been quite a bit lately.
Thanks for talking to us, man.
Hey, thanks for having me, guys. This has been awesome, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Have me back anytime, please.